So one thing that really interests me is why are certain products named what they are, the F-150 included? Well, it actually dates back to the Second World War. Before that, Ford made their trucks and named them the F-1s. And then after the Second World War, when trucks became more popular among the working class, they renamed them F-100 to make them sound bigger and meaner. And then in 1975, they switched it from F-100 to the F-150, which is what we have today. Now, speaking of names, Bluetooth, where did that originate from? Well, if you guessed a 10th century king who unified Denmark and Norway, well, you're right. It's actually named after King Harald Bluetooth Blatten, who did just that back in the 10th century. Now, if you actually look closely at their logo, it's his initials put together. Now, just like him, they wanted to unify telecom and computer services. Now, these people are naming wireless communication to 10th century kings. I'm having a hard time naming my fantasy football team. Now we'll go on the opposite end of the spectrum. Carroll Shelby, he helped make some of the most badass cars on earth, but he literally could not care less about what they were called. The GT350, well, the production plant was actually 350 steps away from his main office. The GT40, car was 40 inches tall, makes sense. GT500, he literally wanted a bigger number than the competition. Guy could not care less about what he called his cars, but man, were they nice. So this Fiesta here, it's literally and figuratively one of the greenest cars we have on the lot. This thing can run forever on a tank of gas. Well, back in the day, in the early 20th century, you could probably understand that cars weren't exactly the greenest option, but they were considered the green alternative to horse-drawn carriages. That's because horse-drawn carriages had horses. Horses released another sort of emission which you could step in and was really gross, and I probably bet you can understand what I'm getting at here, so yeah. Now this, it's a top-of-the-line truck. It's a 2018 F-150 Platinum, and the manufacturer's suggested retail price on this baby is $78,479. Well, back in 1924, you could actually pick up a brand new vehicle for somewhere around $285. Now, adjusting for inflation, that's somewhere around $3,800 in American money. Bet it didn't come with power locks, though. So you probably remember this car. Yeah, it's the old 90s style Ford Taurus, and back in the 90s, it was one of the most best-selling cars that you could get. But it wasn't the best-selling. The best-selling car actually was plastic and had no motor.
One of the best-selling vehicles in America since 1979. Fuel efficient. Made in the U.S. An icon of design. The Cozy Coupe.
Yes, according to the New York Times, the definition of what a car was back in the 90s and per unit sold, the Little Tikes Crazy Coupe was actually the best-selling car in the 90s. Who would have thought?